Hi, and welcome to another episode of Smoky Mountain. Who are you and what do you do? Today, our guest is Mr. Eric DeLarco, and Eric and I met in a business network program. We meet Thursday mornings at dark 30. What is that, 7:15 in the morning?
That's early.
At Puckett's in Pigeon Forge. But what we do is we sit around and we talk about how to be better business people, and we do a little bit of networking and help each other out. But anyway, today, Eric owns Mortgage Loan Corporation here in the Smoky Mountains. And if you've ever dreamt about owning a home in the Smoky Mountains, this is the guy you need to start with. Don't go look at the home first and then come into his door and say, I found $1 million home and you can finance $200,000. That's a bad plan. So
Yes.
what we want to do is chat a little bit. So Eric, tell us a little bit about Mortgage Loan Corporation. How long have you owned the business? Where did you start?
Okay. Well, I have been there for about 20 years. I came up here. I went to University of Tennessee, graduated with a degree in finance, and kind of fell into the mortgage industry, and took over a business for a dear friend of mine about 20 years ago, and we have been right on Court Avenue, facing the Dolly statue since then.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Now, as folks come into the area and they're looking, whether it's somebody coming into the area or local, what is your first bit of advice when somebody wants to buy a home?
Call me first.
Please.
Please call me first. Realtors will certainly appreciate it as well.
And why would they call you first?
Well, a lot of times people just don't know what they can qualify for. So realtors will not appreciate spending their time and effort going to show you a certain price level and then find out you don't have the credit to qualify for anything.
And when it gets into credit scores, I don't think people realize how it all works. And it's very complex. But if you go buy a new truck today, they're probably $60,000, $70,000 if you get that big one, the Raptor or whatever.
Yes.
And that really, really affects your credit to income ratio or your debt to income ratio.
It does.
So if you have the really cool truck, you may not have the really cool house to put the truck in.
Correct. Yes, we see that a lot. A lot of people way overextended in their car payments. Oftentimes, the car payment is more than their house payment, which makes no sense to me. But yes, a car payment should not make or break you. Yes.
So now, as they come to see you, and we were discussing this, part of it is to figure out they need to fill out a quick application with you. And if they wanted to do it on the phone, it only takes 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep. Basic information gets me started. Name, social security number, date of birth, 2-year residence history, 2-year job history with income is essentially all I need.
Okay.
And that gets me started. Pre-approval process from there takes less than 24 hours. If you're ready to make an offer on something immediately, I can usually just drop what I'm doing and get that done within 30 minutes.
Okay.
So it's very, very quick process.
You are like we are. Yeah, I can probably do that in 30 minutes, but I'd like to give myself that 24-hour window because you never know what project you're in the middle of. But yes.
Yes. A lot of the times the forms are done, the loan programs, I should say, have an automated approval system where we spit the information in and it's instant. It comes back approved or refer, and then you need a little more information. But if it comes back automated, approve eligible, it's literally instant, just as quickly as I can put the information in.
Okay, well that's fantastic. Now, what are the other hurdles that someone may run into if they're looking to buy a home? We were discussing the other day, right now in the Smoky Mountains, appraisals are taking forever. Soil samples are taking forever because there's a finite number of people that do those.
Yes.
What's an appraisal running today? Roughly how many weeks? Yeah, go ahead and say a number and have everybody hold me to that.
Yes.
Just take
four is
4
legit.
weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah.
Or
legitimately, 3 weeks is great. We're still getting 30-day contracts from all the realtors, which we certainly understand. And if you don't write a 30-day contract, you're not going to get that contract accepted. Correct. So we order appraisals the second we get the the second we get the contract, because it takes that long. Smoky Mountains right now, as you know, and everyone out there knows around here, is just insane right now in the real estate market, and the appraisers just
can't keep
they
up.
cannot keep up.
I think there's a handful.
Yeah, there's just a handful. Yeah,
and
5 to 10 at most.
And they are hustling
Yes.
every day. But we saw a huge influx after COVID.
Yes.
When you saw it, now, did you see money breaking loose when the government allowed you to dip into the 401k, or was it after the elections when you saw people say, had enough of the West? Because we're seeing a lot of people move here from California and Washington State.
That's actually a good point. That's what I've been telling a lot of people, where I get a lot of questions about, is a crash coming? Because the values are,
skyrocketing.
Up 25% since January, more. So they're all wondering, do I still buy? And a lot of what's driving this market, I think, is the tourism. Tourist in the Smoky Mountains is not going anywhere. So that is really what's driving the real estate market now versus the crash 10 years ago, when it was just credit was so easy. So everyone was buying houses that really had no business buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's driving the market is rental income. And that's not going away. So
we just had one I was doing a video on the other day for a realtor, and they're listing it, and the house grossed $85,000 in 2020, and it's projected $100,000 in 2021. Yes, it is a larger home, and it is a very expensive property.
it is,
But
yes.
where it is in Gatlinburg, sitting on 5 acres, it's very much worth, and it has gorgeous views. There's all those factors when an investor comes in that play into, am I putting the right, or am I buying the right product that's going to give me the return on investment?
Correct.
How much of that plays into what you have to do in your conversations on the front end with people?
A lot. Our investment property loans, we actually get people qualified using 75% of the projected rental income to help you qualify. So the higher the rental numbers, based off the appraisal and the history, if it is a current rental, the higher the income we can count, which means the higher your approval can be.
How many years does it have to be on a rental program to become valid as projection?
0.
Okay.
We can actually, even with new builds, the way they get like appraised values, they base our house on what other similar houses have sold for.
Shape, size.
Yes. Shape, size, age. Yes. Location. And they use that to get the income numbers as well. What are other houses that same size, that same age, same resort, same general area? What are those renting for?
When you get those custom one-offs, that makes it a challenge. When somebody has built a palace on top of the mountain, that's where you're going to run into a little bit of delay, because they're going to have to be very cautious in how they appraise it. And they try to comp it in several ways. I know I've seen that happen a few times.
Yeah, the comps are harder for the sales. But when you're into that buyer, generally they kind of don't need the income to qualify anyways.
They're well off. They're comfortable.
Correct. Yes.
So let's see. So now we've talked a little bit about how we come into the process. After they leave you, where do they go at that point? You're working with the realtor, and then you also work with the closing companies.
Correct.
And I'm sure people say, where do I close it? Usually the realtors, there's probably a lot of talk before they get to you on, well, where do I close this? But there are some really good places in town. Most everybody's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, I have no problems with any title company in Sevier County. They're all fabulous.
It's when you get to Knoxville and Cosby.
You're right. Stay away from those guys.
Everybody that I've ever met in the title companies, they work their tails off.
Yes.
And come Friday at 5 o'clock, most of us are done, and they're still taking calls, trying to make sure they're getting those deals closed.
Yeah, they're the last line before the closing, so they don't want to be the ones to hold things up. To go from Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock closing to, sorry, how about first thing Monday morning? They won't let that happen. They're fabulous.
Let's talk contingency. Worst case scenario, somebody that's a first-time home buyer. And I know we were kidding around the other day when you said, you actually had to advise somebody when their credit was so bad, just go over to the courthouse and
Walk across the street, file bankruptcy, call me in 2 years.
Yeah, call me in 2 years and we can start this process over.
Before,
but people have to do that sometimes because they get so deep into the credit process. When you get used to living on credit and buying and buying and buying, it may be fun and you get all the things you want, but in the backside, if you haven't got those paid off, there's only so far you can go, and there's going to be a day you need a home.
Correct.
So how do you help somebody that's in that situation? Maybe not as drastic as, hey, go across the street and declare bankruptcy.
Yeah, that was a one-time conversation.
Those are hard terms to swallow, but you did say the people did do it, then they came back and they finally worked their way through getting a home.
There are bankruptcy laws, and take advantage of them if you can. That dire. Exactly. But yes, I've certainly. Some people will call me knowing that they can't qualify, but just young, made mistakes in your life. You just say, I know I can't do anything now. Put me on the right track. So I am still more than happy to just get you in my office, sit down with you, get your credit pulled, just go over it line by line. This needs to be paid. This needs to be paid. This needs to be paid. So on and so forth.
So you give them a plan of action of how to check things off. You've got to move this, move this, move this.
Yes.
And once we're free of this, then credit should improve.
Yeah. And I'm not a financial advisor by any means.
And don't buy a big truck.
But but yes, I've looked at credit long enough, to know what you can do and what you can't do. So I can certainly give guidance, and we've done that several times. Start you on a path. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes 6 months. But yeah, it's a long-term process sometimes, but well worth it.
All right. Let's see. Now, is there anything else in the process that people should know? We've come through the beginning process. We're in the middle, moving towards clearing up credit. Is there anything else that we should be talking about?
Well, I guess as far as title companies go, the state of Tennessee, there is a law. It is the buyer's choice. They get to pick the title company. The seller can, of course, use their own, but the seller cannot force the title company on you. Generally, when I get the contract, the title company is already listed on the contract. And like I said, everybody's great. But
many realtors I know have worked with certain people, and they'll say, look, I've worked with Jenny over here, and she takes good care of you. And you'll see that, but they offer options.
Yeah.
And then the buyer can choose.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think they have to give 3 names. I could be wrong on that. With lenders as well. They're supposed to give out a couple names. And everyone has their relationships. Like I said, even realtors have relationships with mortgage people. Mm-hmm. If they're not with me, they're doing it wrong. But
how does a realtor work with you? How do they become friends or a trusted avenue to work through?
A lot of times, when I'm not so busy, I will go just visit real estate offices and hand them some information. Here's my programs. Here's my rates. Just give me a chance. See what I can do. It's harder these days because we are so busy. It's hard for me to step out of my office.
I wonder if we're ever going to see a day where you can go back up and do those days. That's why we built this video program. When we started talking about how do I contribute in our Smarter 2.0, I told everybody, I said, I don't get out of the office like I used to. I'm in front of a keyboard or right here building something for someone, and I don't get out and network like I do. So we said, let's do some video programs, and that was actually the etymology or the starting point of this program. So things like this are vital so people can learn who you are and trust you, and because trusting somebody with your finance is a big deal.
It is, yeah.
Your accountant is your best friend, your bookkeeper, mortgage broker, title attorney. You should have a stable of those, somebody that you can speak to.
Yes, exactly. And we certainly appreciate you doing all this.
No. While I'm doing it around the community,
it
was just an opening process, and I thought, well, why not do these? It was, this is how I can contribute, and this is where I shine a little bit better.
Right.
I don't knock on doors as well as I used to.
Right.
When I was at Dixie Stampede, I used to have to pick up the phone and do, what was it? I think it was 20 cold calls a day. And then you could do your follow-up calls.
Right.
My first 3 phone calls were absolute terror in the morning. I hated picking up the phone.
Yes.
Hi, may I speak to Minister so-and-so? Would you like to come to the Dixie Stampede? But by my 3rd, 4th phone call, it was fine. But,
Right. I'm the same way. I'm in a way in sales, but I was always terrified walking into offices because I don't want people walking into my office when I'm in the middle of things to learn about, whatever.
As a small business owner, you have to be your own marketing department.
That's true.
Though. So what else do you do to market your property?
It's a lot of just word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a good stable of realtors who I've worked with for 10, 20 years.
But you're always looking for more.
Always looking for more. Yes.
There's new realtors.
Always looking for, yes. Realtors come and go. So I'm always looking for more. But once I'm in with one office, hey, they might talk to another realtor in that office and say, hey, use this guy. He did great on this loan.
Eric had a really tough job, and he pulled it out for
Right,
us.
right. Or even the listing agents, if I'm doing a loan, maybe the listing agent was impressed with getting the closing on time or, communicating well. Just
I have
things
found
like that. It can be anything.
To dial the clock back, when I first moved here, I was a swim coach and I was also a realtor. And when you're working in the mornings, and I'd have the whole day off, and I remember my ex saying, "Hey, you need to get a job and do something during the day." But when I started making friends with mortgage brokers, and we had a common friend, when she took me under her wing and started explaining the process to me, my business flourished. So, young realtors, you need to find someone like Eric or another mortgage lender, just somebody that you're comfortable with.
Right.
Have lunch with them, have a cup of coffee, and you need to understand what their business, what it takes to run your business.
Right.
So that when they bring someone to you, they have the knowledge base, they have tried to do the pre-qualifying. Being pre-qualified makes a big difference when you go to make a home.
Yes, absolutely.
I know in this market right now, realtors are saying, are they pre-qualified? Because there's 5, 10, and I've heard of horror stories of 15 or 20 offers coming in, and there's bidding wars, and it comes down to who's pre-qualified and who's got the money, because anybody can say they can do the deal, but
everyone likes their pre-approval letter, and I've got a form letter. Once you're pre-approved, credit reports are good for 4 months, so I've just got a form letter. I just put in the address, put in the borrower, shoot it off to the realtor within 5 minutes.
And the folks are covered, and it actually gives them a chip at the negotiation table.
Right. And
because somebody who's pre-qualified is way better than pie and sky.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I'm sure you've seen those deals as well, where somebody says, I can pay for that. And then you struggle through, and you fix credit, you fix, and you're not done in 30 days. You're not done in 40 days, 45 days. It's 60 to 90.
Right. Yes, there's always some tough ones out there. For sure.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Anything else that you'd like to discuss?
Well, I guess a little bit as a broker, Mortgage Loan Corporation. We are what's known as a mortgage broker, meaning it's not my money that I'm lending to you for the mortgage. We have relationships with they're called wholesale lenders, where it's basically huge banks, but they don't have offices that you can actually go into and talk to someone. They're only lend to brokers. And what that does, it gives you a lot more avenues, for one. I'm signed up with about 20 different wholesale lenders across the country.
So you can get better rates by shopping
Yes.
at 20.
Exactly. Once I get credit scores, I get 20 different rate sheets every day. They're all pretty similar, but an eighth of a point, adds up. Even if it's $30 a month, over 30 years, and why pay $30 that you don't have to every month?
Correct.
So, so we shop it around. We've got I think 3 of the 7 largest lenders in the country are in my arsenal, and also we have the way I get paid is the lender that I sell the loan to. Actually, we have a contract with them. They pay me to send them the loan because they're making money on the 30 years worth of interest. What that does for the borrower is I do not charge any origination fees. So there are no
that
fees.
Saves a big chunk.
Yes. Congress changed some rules a few years ago, which actually turned out to be great for the borrowers.
Don't take this wrong, but I don't think they meant it. If Congress tried to do something,
this is one thing they got right.
Way to go, fellas. Way to go. That's one out of 10 million.
Too many to count. But yeah, so they did change the way we get compensated. So we don't have any fees to the borrower from our end. So it doesn't cost anything to shop us. And like I said, with 20 different wholesale lenders all rolled into one, you're doing your shopping
Right
with
at one time.
just me.
Yeah, that is a one-stop shop. So you don't. The person doesn't have to go out and say, "What is U.S. Bank doing today? What is this place doing today?" They come
Right.
to you and they say, "What is the best rate out there? What can we do with
Correct.
my credit scores?" And there you go. Here we move quickly and
Correct.
efficiently.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
pretty amazing.
Yes, we like to think so.
Believe it or not, that's an epiphany to me. Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, that's how it all works.
Yeah.
On a side note, I watched the movie The Big Short, and I don't know if people know this, but their loan packages can be sold to other banks, and that's how they move a lot of this around, and
Yeah.
that's how money flows back and forth. So
Yep.
there is value to having your loan and coming to you and then going through the process.
Yep. They get sold a few times, sometimes, and basically just frees whoever's servicing that loan, selling your loan, frees up their money to lend more money.
Mhm. Money is always moving.
Makes the world go round.
Should be. It should be. Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to cover? What do you think about Smarter as a business, as a networking association? Let's chat about that a little bit. How long
Sure.
have you been in Smarter 2.0?
A few years. 4 or 5 years, maybe.
And how do you feel as it's been for a
It's been great. I've gotten a lot of business out of that. We do keep spreadsheets. I'm actually in charge of the spreadsheets.
Yeah, we have the math guy doing the spreadsheets.
Yeah. So we keep track of who refers business to who and the dollar amounts you close and everything like that. And it's been very successful for me. I'm very happy I've joined, and we're always looking for new members.
And we have all kinds of positions available with members that folks could apply and be part of our
Oh, yeah. If you're self-employed and you want to come by for breakfast,
7:30 on Thursday
7:30
mornings.
Thursday morning at Puckett's.
Earmark probably an hour and a half,
Yeah.
maybe. Food's always good.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm always back in the office by 9:15. So, it's a good breakfast.
myself as well. Well, Eric, thank you so much for
Yeah,
today. I
enjoyed
really
it.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, if you've enjoyed this program, make sure to like and subscribe to the little bell down there on the YouTube channel. And if you hit the little bell, you will get updates when we have new programs, which we are pumping them out regularly. Our goal is to help the community find people like Eric and our other guests so that when you need a mortgage broker, you can say, hey, look at this guy. Feel free to share the information. We would love
Absolutely.
to have you do that. YouTube and Facebook, when somebody on Facebook says, hey, I'm in search of a mortgage lender or mortgage broker, can you tell me who? Grab this video and stick it on there and share it with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.